This week in VR, me and Samson dive into Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, perhaps one of the biggest games to ever launch on the Quest. We gave our initial impressions after playing 2 to 3 hours of the game, included the thoughts about gameplay, the thoughts about core mechanics and the story, and just how fun it is in general. Elsewhere, Arizona Sunshine released some more gameplay as well as a few more details, as well as this shooting game that I forget, Sniper Elite Winter Soldier. We also got more details about that. And plus, happy Thanksgiving to everyone in America and the US. It is also Black Friday for worldwide, even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And we go through some of our picks and what we're going to probably pick up of the massive Black Friday sale that you can get on the Quest Store. All that and more, so let's talk Oculus.
Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus.
What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus episode 112. I'm your host, as always, Dan from Playtest VR, and I'm joined by my co-host, assassin, Samson, Auditore Di Ferenzi. How you doing?
I didn't know you were Italian.
I didn't know you were Italian with that last name.
Yeah, totally. That's actually my middle name, Dan. That's actually my middle name. Yeah.
Right. Roger that. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Dan, right off the bat, is weird for me. I wanted to do some like housekeeping of my own.
Go for it. Samson housekeeping coming up.
Yeah, some Samson housekeeping. So right off the bat, I've recently updated my referral Google Doc, which is right in the description below if you're on YouTube, with some Assassin's Creed, Demio Battles, Dungeons of Eternity, but we'll be talking about that one later. And the recent Rooms of Realities, which is an escape room game, and Paradiddle, which is a drumming game, Dan. It's pretty good. That I played the Steam version of Paradiddle. I haven't yet hopped into my wireless Quest version yet.
Nice. Yeah, so that Google Doc is in the description below. Samson gets all the dollar for that. He gets to buy more games, and then he can refer more games.
And speaking of which, Dan, I did want to mention, since you finished Seventh Guest, I have to give away a copy of Seventh Guest in our Discord, which also linked below if you're on the YouTube. So I will be doing a giveaway of Seventh Guest, so come on down, join the Discord. I will likely be selecting a winner, let's say the first week of December, Dan.
That gives everyone time. It's Thanksgiving.
1st. Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. So
December 1st, whatever day of the week that is.
Perfect.
Sunday.
Yeah,
it's a Friday.
Like you said, Discord is below. We also do random giveaways, and if you join the Patreon too, a random code pops up. I think I posted a code in there the other day as well. So
Dan, it is so funny that you mentioned random giveaways because there's a heck of a good deal going on right now on the Meta Store. Tons of games are 40% off. And so I want to give away 2 games this week in our Discord that are 40% off. So come on down, and I'm not really sure how I'll do this one, but I'm gonna have to do it during this week. So I'll probably select some winners on Friday of this week, which will be tomorrow when this airs. So, or Saturday. I want to give some people time to play their games, Dan.
Give some people time. I say the podcast is on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening and watching. If
Dan,
you're in the States,
let's do it Sunday because that's like the last day of the Monday's the last day of the deal. But let's get Sunday in. Yeah.
So join the Discord, and Samson will give away 2 free 40% off games, which will be free, not 40% off, if that makes a ton of sense. But we will get to the Black Friday deals and Cyber Monday deals towards the end of the show. Let's I know we normally start the show with what we've been playing, but there's one game in particular that we've both been playing, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of Quest users have been playing, and that's Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. I was about to say Assassin's Creed 3 for some reason, but that's probably because I'm playing as the Assassin's Creed 3 character. But Samson, let's start off with initial thoughts or initial impressions of the game before we kind of dive into more of the intricacies of the game itself. What is your overall impression so far, and how much have you played of it at the moment?
I think I am about 90 minutes to 2 hours. I still feel like I'm in the intro, Dan. I still feel like I'm in the intro. I have not had really a lot of time to sink into this. Thanksgiving break will be when I really grind in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try and beat this one, Dan. But yeah, these are my initial thoughts here. Pretty solid intro. And I've never played an Assassin's Creed game before, Dan. Flat.
Yeah. This is the interesting part for me.
A few minutes of them.
Go on.
So the intro is pretty solid. Teaches you how to use the controls. Lots of... I selected that I played VR and have good VR legs, so I got no vignette or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I did turn on a nose. You can turn on a nose, Dan, to give yourself a solid point of that you can always see, a static point.
Oh, that would help with motion sickness, because you'll always be... Yeah.
That was interesting. I immediately shut it off because it was bothersome. But
That's fair. That's fair.
It does exist. Anyway, graphics are very impressive. The scale of the game is very impressive for a VR title that's standalone for sure.
Yeah.
I enjoy moving around. The parkour feels pretty good to me. There are times where I get stuck. I haven't yet really nailed climbing, but running where you just have to look and then maybe do one swing, that feels really good to me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I enjoy the stealth and trying to be really quiet when the enemies, they do their the one walk
little routes that they do.
You just memorize, or you see which way they're gonna go. Yeah, and then you can throw things to get them out of the way.
So right now, assuming that you've done 90 minutes or so.
Combat wise, do you want to know what I've got? I haven't got to any. I've done 3 or 4 levels, I think. Three levels.
Are you with Ezio right now, or have you moved on to Cassandra?
What can you do with Cassandra? I think I'm still Ezio.
Cassandra, you're in the is it Greek? Greek. Okay. So you're in a completely different environment.
Yeah, I think
you only have a hidden blade on the left hand only.
I think I'm still Ezio.
Okay, so you're still Ezio. Okay, that makes sense, because I don't know if you've noticed, and I'll tell you my impressions in a second, but this is something that I really appreciate, and it's such a small thing, but when you go to load the game, it tells you how many hours you've played it for. So I've played it for 2 hours and 50 minutes on the dot. That's exactly what my playthrough is, which is really nice. I like that. I like it on the Switch, where on the settings, it tells you exactly how much time you played in a game. I'm sure you have it in Steam as well, right?
Yeah. I use Meta Move, but I did notice that the Meta Move number was different from the in-game one.
So I love that little stat. It's just nice to know how long you've spent at this game, because sometimes it feels like forever, and sometimes feel like you've not played it much at all. And it'd be nice also on the podcast just to say how long you've played. But anyway, my initial impressions, to start off, very beautiful. Like you said, very vibrant, rich. It's really cool. The opening, and we're going to kind of spoil as much as we can here, because it's just the first, little bit. But the opening, when you go straight into mixed reality, I did not expect at all that there was going to be a mixed reality component of it. That was really cool. And then you get into the animus and such, and all of it. As someone who's played Assassin's Creed, especially the older titles, it was surreal, because the 2 professors who were on the phone call at the start, they're from the old Assassin's Creed games. The main woman that you interact with, I don't think I've seen her before. She may be in another one, I'm not sure, but I don't think she is. I think she's brand new. But the first 2, and you see him and you're like, wow, I'm Desmond. And if you know Assassin's Creed 2, that's that's exactly who you are.
So the story, I'm taking it in, but it's mostly going in one ear and out the other. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just there killing people and having fun moving around. But I do like, during these cutscenes, that they take the VR headset off at the end.
Yes, I noticed that
Uh,
too. It's cool because every time they finish talking with you, you see them do the
yeah,
motion to take their
it's
VR
like
headset.
we're all just in VR. Yeah,
Yeah, we're
I
we're
get it.
all in the same thing. I think that's really cool. Yeah. So essentially, how the game is there's three different characters, right? You got Ezio, you got Cassandra, and you got Connor, all from different games. And you start off with Ezio, which is really cool if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, because he is the most beloved character and such. The way the hidden blade, where you flick your wrist, works really well. I do have some annoyances with the parkour, which we'll get to in a moment, but overall they've done an okay job. What I also noticed that there was quite a lot of loading screens, which is not
It's
too
what,
bad. It gives you a break, but there is a lot,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah.
then it's fine because you got to look at it's a standalone game, and there's so much going on in the environment. There are some nuances which we'll get to in a moment, but initial thoughts, I thought it was really cool. And once you move past Ezio, because the whole start beginning Ezio is basically a whole tutorial mission, and it's like an
Yeah.
hour and a half long. And once you get past that to Cassandra, most of Cassandra's stuff is not really tutorially, but there are still bits that you learn as you go along. So this is a 15 to 20 hour game, is what I've heard. So, if I'm only 2.5, 3 hours in, there's a lot more of the game. And I feel like because there's so many different movements, there's different ways to kill and different ways to sneak around and all that stuff. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But overall, it's fantastic. It's a really good game so far. Like I said, time will tell in terms of if that's going to be good, really, really good or not, or is it just going to be quite repetitive? I don't know. But yeah, I'm having a blast. So far.
How'd you do on the parry?
Parry I found quite easy. Actually.
Okay, hot shot.
No, there's okay. So there is in terms. Let's talk about combat then. In terms of combat, you can stealthily go around, and that's going to be your best bet because you can just hit and blade them,
Yeah.
even if they're the most difficult enemies. You can still get past them.
I like the throwing knives too.
Throwing knives are really cool, really accurate as well. It's a shame you don't have many of them. But when it comes to combat, when it's 1-to-1, when you're against somebody, I found that most of the time I've been okay. It's very Assassin's Creed where you have to just counter them in order to attack them. But for people who haven't played Assassin's Creed, it's probably a bit meh in terms of combat. So what do you think of the actual combat itself?
Oh, I thought the combat was it feels like most VR games that aren't physics based, I guess, right?
Yeah, like until you're four.
But when I was in the tutorial learning the parry, it took me several times to get it correct and to finally kill the man in the tutorial for the parry system. So like I still don't really know when to parry. So there's that. But you don't really need you can just block and then hit them.
Yeah. Okay, so when I say I find the parry quite easy, when I did the tutorial, I also couldn't do it to save my life. It took me ages. But then when I get into normal combat, I just learned just to block them and then hit them. Yeah. I think it's one of the things that you just as you go, you get better and better, right?
Oh, I do also want to double back on gameplay because fuck the sprint button, Dan.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. The sprint button is trash.
I don't like that. And I don't like that the crouch is on the same hand that the movement joystick is because you can't move and crouch at the same time, which seems like bullshit to me.
Yeah, I agree. So let's start with the sprint button. For those of you who haven't played the game yet, because your the way you do parkour is that you hold the A button and you move left stick forward. Now, I would have liked it is if you're holding the A button and move the left stick forward, it will automatically run for you because most of the time when you're parkouring, you kind of want to run, and jump kind of thing.
It does like a jump though.
But it does do it like a jump, but you have to press in the left sticks, so L3 for on controllers, and you will then run. And it's so awkward to do that, and then when you're jumping, let go of that button to grab the grip button to then than climb up a wall or something like that. It's hard when you've got that button pressed in. It's hard to press any other buttons on that controller, and it becomes infuriating. Like the amount of times that I fail at parkour is because I'm pressing that button in, and it's I think the other way they could have done it is them having the option to do your gorilla tag kind of walking, and such to run like Stride does. That's another option.
Even if you just had both the buttons on the same hand, you could kind of like slide one up and hit the other. Like, so if you were holding A and then had to hit,
I would have. I just looked. I
would
have
liked. A was just did both. Yeah.
I would have. I went into the settings. So I was like, "Can I change this button? Can I just change it to like the left trigger button at least? Like at the very least, the left trigger button to run would have been nice. And just if you just had your hidden blade on one hand and the other button is just to run, then that would have been fine too.
In console gaming, can you remap your controllers on the in most PlayStation 5 games?
In most games, yeah.
You can. I didn't know if this was just a PC thing.
In most games, I believe now in PS5, it's been a long time since I played the PS5, but I believe like I think the cool thing about the PS5 too is that you can do the console, the mapping in the settings. So then when you go into any game, it should be able to just remember the settings that you have, and such. So you can like have a controller configuration and bring that into most games, but
VR games need this.
I wish you could remap the buttons by 3 presets, but none of them allow you to make the run button like the trigger or anything like that. It lets you do like the opposite hands if you want. So the stuff that happens on the right controller goes on the left, and then there's one other one, but it doesn't let you do. I would have liked the trigger button, the left trigger button being the run button as an option, and just sacrifice the use of the hidden blade on your left hand. Or vice versa or something, just so at least just pressing that button in the left stick is just awkward to sprint. It's that classic Call of Duty back in the day.
And it's going to give you stick drift, Dan.
I guess so. Yeah, think of that. That's not happened yet. But so yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, what was your second one? You said there was that, and then what else was there? Was a nuance in about the parkour.
Yeah, the crouching.
Yes, the crouching. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I never thought of it, but I agree with you. I'm not sure. Have you tried just crouching in real life and seeing if you actually crouch?
Yeah, you do. But I'm not about that life.
Fair enough. Because I can see myself being when I was playing Medal of Honor. This game reminds me a lot like Medal of Honor. I'm not gonna lie.
You get like around.
When I was playing Medal of Honor, I would always crouch and go behind my bed and use it as cover and such like that. But that's a different game.
Dan, I've been hurt the last week. You saw my knee in the Discord photo from
true.
Soccer.
That's true. That's true. Samson's had a soccer injury recently, but okay, so that's that. The parkour, I think they've done a decent job, but there are like a few. You do fall off. Like you have these parkour challenges in the game where you can do these like you basically have to run onto different platforms. You have to go through these checkpoints. It's a parkour challenge.
That part's fun.
Their parkour challenges are fun, but sometimes they're just infuriating when you're trying to jump and you get stuck on a wall, and when you put your head through the wall,
you're trying to go fast.
Yeah,
dude, I hate that too. I mean, I get it, but I hate it.
So when you put your head through the wall by mistake, like through parkour, that happens quite often. Yeah, it happens a lot. The whole screen goes black, and then you have to like bring yourself out for it to work again. So it's not by no means a perfect game. By no means a perfect game.
I was going to say this, Stan. Much like Hubris, I'm having a lot of fun playing this game, but it does have its flaws.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
But the sum of its parts, I think, is very fun so far.
Yeah, and maybe some of this, as you get better and better as the parkour, you'll get used to it a little bit more. It's one of those, but yeah.
Come back next week for a lot more thoughts, I assure.
Yeah, definitely from you anyway, because obviously you have the long weekend. But
6 days off, Dan.
So, not to spoil too much, but after Ezio, you move on to the next character of Cassandra, and I haven't played further than that. I've played her first mission, or 2 missions or something like that. I played the first like main thing. Basically, it's when you start using the bow and arrow, and that's technically not a spoiler because that's in the images and gameplay and such. But you get a bow and arrow, and that, I'm not gonna lie, the bow and arrow is really satisfying. And with Cassandra, you also go into like some of the Greek temples and underground, and you see the scale of the statues and all that stuff, and it's
That's cool
super
scenery.
super cool. And there's like when you go underneath the big building, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but there's like booby traps there, so like if you press the wrong button, there's like arrows that get fired at you and such, and it's really really really
It
cool.
sounds like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I felt, I think that was my favorite part so far of the game, was in the underground temples with Cassandra. So far, I think that was amazing. And the bow and arrow is so satisfying to use and very easy. You can tell there's some assists on the bow and arrow, like it is on the throwing knife and such. But it's very
the throwing knife is like automatic.
yeah, the throwing knife. You basically throw it at him. You're hitting him straight in the chest. But yeah, so in terms of nuances to go forward on that, I noticed that if the NPCs are quite far away, they are literally running at like 3 frames a second. They are stuttering. Did you ever notice that if the NPCs are quite far away?
I should mention. I haven't really noted. I've been staring at NPCs or PCs.
Non-player
far away.
It was just before you make your point, I was just going to say it was big. In Cassandra, there's a bow and arrow part when you get your bow and arrow, and then the guards start chasing you, and the guards that were like far away coming towards you were like literally running in slow motion. And as soon as they get closer, they run fast again.
Normal.
Yeah, it's that is another kind of little nuance. I don't mind it as much because it feels very much like a Quest 2 title, and we'll get into that in a moment. But like, you know, if this was a PC VR, I think.
I mean, it hasn't been upgraded for the 3 yet. That's for sure.
Well, that's what I was mentioning. Like it feels as good as it looks. It feels very much like a Quest 2 like it's pushing Quest 2 to the very limit.
I have encountered a few bugs. I will say that.
Yeah.
One time the game wouldn't get past the initial loading screen or one of the initial loading screens, and it just froze. So
I had that too. I couldn't get into my game. Like I had to just reboot, and then I could load into it.
And another time, the key in my inventory, every time I went to grab it to open the door, it would disappear back into my inventory. So, and I really just thought I was doing something wrong. That one, I even reloading my save, and it was buggy, but then I shut the game off and reboot it, and then it worked. But yeah, and I've noticed a couple frame drops here and there, but nothing too bad.
It runs pretty well. Yeah. It's just like you notice some bits that as you're playing that you're like, okay, this is a bit off, but it doesn't really distract from the fun at all. You know, the only one time that it did, I guess, was with Cassandra when you had your bow and arrow, and they were like, all the guards are coming, and you're just watching them really running really slow towards you from the.
I'm gonna look out for that.
Yeah, you'll notice it. It's right at the end of Cassandra's mission, or the first one at least. But yeah, that was really interesting to see. But so in terms of Quest 2, because a lot of our listeners still have the Quest 2, they've not upgraded to the Quest 3 yet. I've looked at, and I think you have too, as well as other people who have tried it on Quest 2 through YouTube and just through talking to people, and it seems like the Quest 2 one is pretty much on par. Like, apart from maybe draw distances at that, but it's pretty much on par, right?
People say it runs smoothly for them. That's what they seem to say, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a few people on Twitter, I think.
Yeah, so
I forget who exactly though.
So going back to when we had the gameplay reveal, the creative director David Votica, I've completely butchered that name, but basically he said that the Quest 3 version would have further draw distances, higher detail, and textures will look crisper and run at 90 hertz, where the Quest 2 one will be around 80 hertz. But from footage that I've seen, and obviously footage is going to be very different to being in the actual game.
You see, yeah,
it looks pretty solid. It looks like, I don't think you're missing out much at all, and it gets me excited to see if this one is successful, when it sounds like it is at the moment. A sequel to this game where it would just be on Quest 3. You know, every title right now.
I think it'll get an upgrade.
I think so too. I think next year, I think we'll see a proper Quest 3 upgrade of visuals and such.
Prediction time, Dan. Prediction time here. If
We
this
love
game
predictions.
sells, if this game sells well enough, it's really a question prediction for you. Do you think that they might make a Splinter Cell VR game?
Yes, I think definitely. I think if this does well, I mean, this is Ubisoft's, and I don't think it's their first game. I think they had Star Trek
They've done a
Bridge
lot.
Crew.
They've done a
Yeah,
lot. They've done.
they've done a lot, but it's their first like purely standalone quest. I think if it does really well, I think they either do a sprint or they just actually just do another Assassin's Creed. They do a Nexus 2, you know. And I think they probably
Nexus.
they probably will do a Nexus. They probably will do a Nexus 2. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I like about the game. It's a really fun game. It reminds me a lot like Medal of Honor, and I say that in terms of like you do a
God,
mission
Dan, you're
and you
gonna
move on
ruin
to the
it. Don't
next
tell
one.
people that.
Look, Medal of Honor is super underrated. On Black Friday right now, get 40% off. Go for it. One of the best games you'll ever play. On Quest anyway. It does say to me though that this game, if it was optimized for PC VR, would be like top tier. I think in terms of like I would like to think that the it would just take it to a next level. But that's in terms of visuals and stuttering and such. I feel like in the end of the day, the core gameplay and the combat and such is going to be the same if it ever went on a PC VR or anything like that.
Oh,
And
the PSVR 2 version will be great.
yeah, but their grip button sucks, so you don't want to climb anywhere. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm really liking Assassin's Creed. It's one of those games that because it's 15 to 20 hours, will I finish this game? I don't know because you do
You're gonna
have
do it.
Assassin's Creed. You don't have Assassin's. You have God's Wrath and Arizona Sunshine coming out as well. So
I want
yeah.
100% it, but I'll get through the main story for sure.
One thing before we move on, I just want to ask because I don't have a clue, and I wanted to ask if you have a clue or any of us in the audience knows a clue. The food that you can pick up in Assassin's Creed and you can eat, and also when you press the eagle eye vision, it tells you all the treasures in a room, for example. But when you pick it up, it's just a scroll or a chalice or something like that. What do they do? Because it says on my
What do you
map
mean?
that it's treasure. It says on it, I can pick up the food, I can eat the food, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It doesn't do anything, and they've not
Does it give
explained
you?
what it does.
I don't think it. I don't think it does anything
And you
unless it
can't
gives you a little bit
store.
of health.
It doesn't
But I
because
think
your health is like if you get hit, you just gotta wait a little bit whilst your health
yeah.
restores.
Okay, that's what I thought. I
And
think it's just for fun. You can. It's like when you pick something up in a game, and it's like press A to eat apple. You just do it in VR.
that's fair because you can actually pick up like the guitar and such or banjo, and you can start playing it if you wanted to. So I guess so. But I just got confused because I was like, "Why am I eating all this food?" And it's not told me like why. And then when you press the Y button, it says treasure, 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 and maybe it's like it could be treasure in here. So have a look at
Yeah.
this. But yeah, that was a weird one. And the other thing I actually forgot to mention is that when you had your key problem. So for people who haven't played the game, when you pick up stuff for your inventory, you just let it go and it disappears. And then when it comes to when you need to use it, so like a key for a door, as you put your hand to it, the key just magically appears and then you can turn it.
Auto inventory.
What do you think of this auto inventory? What is your opinion on it? Because I personally actually don't really like it. I would prefer the old like Walking Dead backpack style where you could store items and you could pick it up and then use it physically and such. I would prefer that than auto. What do you think?
What's this flat Assassin's Creed? How's that work for an inventory?
Oh, it's been I don't know the RPG ones, but the old ones I'm pretty sure there wasn't anything like keys or anything like that, to be honest.
Gotcha.
No.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't. It stands out kind of like I don't feel like I've really had an experience inventory like this before. But it doesn't necessarily bother me. It's sort of less to think about, right? And I feel like I've got enough to think about. So
That's true. Yeah, there was one in Cassandra's, and I won't go on it too much because I know you haven't played it yet. But you have to pick up a bunch of items, and then you go to the place. I'm gonna call it palace. I know it's not, but there's like statues and you have to put the items on the statues in the right way to kind of, but I see that like, for example, there's one where you have to put the guitar thing on its legs, and it just, you can see the silhouette of the guitar on its legs, and you just have to put your hand towards it and then it appears, and then you just let go and then it's in. And I'm like,
yeah,
give me something more than that.
The puzzles seem easy, right? Everything you need to solve a puzzle so far has been very much highlighted yellow.
Yeah.
And you know where to put it. But I, once again, just figured that was just like normal Assassin's Creed stuff. So
it could be nowadays. It could be. But yeah, I think I'm so used to having like Walking Dead where you have like your inventory bag and you can store items. And I was thinking it would be more like that, but it isn't. But yeah, but I'm loving it so far. I like the fact that it's like very mission based, and even though it has open world elements that you can go around exploring and kill random people, but then also get deactivated in the animus, but desynchronized rather. I think it's a game that you can really just like, oh, I'm going to just play half an hour to 40 minutes and you get it done. Like Cassandra's first mission, that took me 40 minutes. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm good right now. I'm going to go get something to eat or something like that and play this later. So I like it that way. And I think multiple characters just keeps it fresh over and over again. It might confuse the story a lot, but only time will tell.
I'll probably try and do 2-hour bursts.
Yeah, that's
2 to 3 hour bursts over this break.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, I mean, we'll have more thoughts on it as the coming episodes go. But it's coming out the right time. Like you said, you're gonna have the whole Thanksgiving to play it. When you can. So
what else you been playing, Dan?
So as you mentioned, I'll really quickly mention it. I finished the 7th Guest. The last 25% of the game was really quick. It was actually like a few puzzles, and I'm not gonna lie, the puzzles were very easy. The only thing I didn't like about the game was right at the ending. I thought the ending puzzle, on quotation marks, because it wasn't really a puzzle, was the weakest part of the whole title. But overall, 8 out of 10. Solid game, not too difficult. Quite clever in certain aspects. You could tell it was dated in terms of it was a classic like old puzzle games where it's just room to room. But I loved every minute of it.
Did you solve every puzzle on your own, or did you use the coin things, hints, or whatever?
I used the coin. I used the coin once. So I picked up so many coins because you can find them very easily, but I only used the coin once when I had that typewriting issue that I mentioned a couple episodes ago. But then you can use hints without using coins. So coins will just solve it for you. You do when you pick up your pick up your map or something. You could do 1 or 2 hints. So you could do reveal hint. It doesn't cost you any coins. I did do that a couple of times just to see what the hell I'm doing, and I'm getting confused. But overall, I'm not gonna lie, it's not a difficult puzzle game, but it is like I would say a medium difficulty puzzle game. At the best. I think if people are like scared because they're not very good, quote unquote, at puzzle games, you're gonna probably be okay with this one, to be honest. Especially after you get the first one, the first room. Once you've done the first room, you get the idea of what kind of puzzles these are, and you get used to it. So, yeah, and it's not scary at all. There are a few. It's definitely eerie, the game, but there's no real jump scares or anything like that. So don't worry if you think it's gonna be a horror.
Eerie.
Yeah, don't worry if you think it's going to be like a super horror game. It's not that really. It just has some eerie aspects to it and such. But yeah, so that's one game I've been playing. Samson, what have you been playing?
All right, Dan. So I hopped into Golf Plus recently, and boy, oh boy, it is way different from 2 years ago when I hopped in last.
It's very different.
There's an entire subscription model of $10 a month or like 70 or 80 for the year, where you get access to all the DLCs, a bunch of other cosmetic perks, and you get access to the DLCs as they come out along. It's not like the hole-in-one bundle of Walkabout where you get them all then.
That's actually very new. That's actually very new. I think that came out this month, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, incredible timing on their part for getting this marketing from me. So it's got experience points. It's got dailies that you accrue. Like you get the points for buying things in the cosmetics store, which I'm also hooked on unlocking. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it, Dan. That's actually what I use all the referral money I have right now to buy the courses. I like the idea of a submodel. You could pay $10 and experience all the DLC in 1 month and then cancel, for example. But I like to own my stuff as much as I can own my stuff on
You're
this
right.
thing.
If you want to just try all of the courses for a month and have a good time, and then just buy your select ones that you like afterwards, then yeah, it's a good idea.
Exactly. And what else I've been playing? Breachers, of course, and 11 table tennis, of course, with my brother. I've gotten into Dungeons of Eternity a little bit, not as much as I would like. And then, of course, I finally got back into a game of chess with my friend D-Max.
Nice.
And
Did you
friend of
win?
the show. No. But this time I did get to the end game, Dan. I did get to the end game.
That's fair. That's fair.
I almost, one of these days, we're going to stalemate.
One of these days, we're getting closer. The other game I played was an old game, but a throwback is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
With your roommates?
I actually played, just played with my partner. And I also tried to play on my own and realized I actually never played this game before. And so I had no idea anything about it. Full disclosure, I did get a code from the developer. They did send me a code for this game to try it out because I've kind of not re-released it, but they did come out with a MetaQuest 3 trailer and such, and they are still
Have mixed
updating.
reality, right?
Yeah, exactly. They are still updating the game. So even though it's a very old VR title, they're still updating it. So it's got fresh graphics, and when you first get into the game, it's in mixed reality. When you do the actual levels, I haven't encountered a mixed reality level yet.
Well, that's the point, Dan. You're not. That's. I think the point is that you're supposed to hang out with your friends playing this game, and then when you go into the room to defuse the bomb, you're like going into somewhere where you're not with them.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of, and that's why it's not a one-man show on this podcast. So the way it works for people who have never played this game, because I never played it before, is if you've ever played a game like what's the Jackbox? Is it Jackbox, the party game, right? There's a bomb defusing game on Jackbox where like there's a bunch of instructions and then you've got the bomb and you've got to try and defuse it. And such, and each person on their phones is their own type of instructions kind of thing, so they have to read it out to each other. Similar things. So basically on their website you can download the PDF, which has a big long list of instructions for different types of puzzles. So you give that to somebody and then you put the VR headset on and go into the bomb diffusing room, and essentially you have to keep talking, otherwise the bomb will explode, hence the name. So you have to describe what's on the bomb. So there's different aspects. There's, you got the typical like which wire you need to cut, but then there's also
red.
But there's also different codes. There's like there's buttons.
There's a number pad. Yeah.
There's all sorts of different kind of little puzzles on
Bop
there.
it.
Not as, you don't want to bop it, but you know what I mean. And essentially you need to read this out to your partner who's playing it, who's got the instructions, and they have to kind of read back the instructions to you from your descriptions.
And you have to you basically have to describe enough so that the people reading the directions know which part of the bomb to read the directions to solve the thing that you in the headset
Correct.
need. There's a lot of reading in this, I'm not gonna lie.
There's a lot of reading and a lot of talking. I mean, that's the whole point of the game. And I thought the initial thing, I was like, this game would be better if it was like casted to the TV so the other people could see. But then I guess that kind of defeats the point a little bit, because then they can see what you're seeing, and that
then they don't have to talk.
more. Exactly. It needs to be more. Well, they still have to talk, but you don't have to talk. They could just look at it and go, okay, do this, do this, do this. So the communication aspect is a big thing. And so you got like the standard missions, and there's a lot of missions in there. I don't think it's an expensive game. I don't know the price. I don't know if Samson, if you can grab the price for Keep Talking Nobody Explodes, but the game has a lot of content in there, and then even if you're done the content, and I'm not gonna lie, it gets to extreme modes, and the extreme modes are incredibly difficult. I was on the easy modes and I was still sweating playing the game, like not making it blow up.
Your heart rate, it's $15.
It's $15, and maybe you can get the 40% off. I'm not sure. You'll have to try that. But on the
It looks like it's in a bundle right now. Experience mixed reality.
Yeah. So the game also, if you get anything wrong, so if you cut the wrong wire, the timer just goes faster and faster and faster if you do the wrong thing. There's a hardcore mode, which I believe that when you press something, it blows up in your face immediately. So there's no leeway. So that's the thing. So I played a bunch of the main missions until I got really stuck and flustered. And then this morning, before jumping on this podcast, I actually thought I'd try it in the free play mode, because there's a mode in free play where you can like customize the settings, so you could choose like how many different puzzles are on the bomb, and what your timer is going to be, like 5 to 10 minutes, and if you're on hardcore or not on hardcore, where you just press the button and you've exploded kind of thing. So I just dranked everything to the top. I went full on 11 puzzles, everything. I didn't have a clue what was going on, and plus I didn't have anyone. I was just holding the PDF on my phone and looking through the peephole in the quest tree trying to get it. And yeah, I didn't last too long, but the difficulty can go high scale, and I feel like this is actually an amazing party game to bring if you have your VR headset. It's a really fun party game, especially with one person. Maybe with a few more people it gets really hectic. But
all right, here's the thing, Dan.
Yeah.
When you're drinking, you don't generally you don't want to read.
No.
Or focus on text like that.
No.
So if you're having a lighter party, something like this, or a non-drinking party, that's perfectly fine. I just want to say, like, there's been times where I'm like, I've thought about wanting to play this game, and I'm like, nobody right now is gonna want to be reading.
Fair. Well, maybe not a party, but maybe like maybe co-op.
Great family night and great with kids.
That's what I mean.
Read or practicing reading.
No. You're burying your hole. You're digging deep here. I would say it's good for a partner, as a co-op campaign. That would be fun, especially or with a roommate, or like you said, with the family member or something like that. I think it's a great game to get people involved in, because the VR is very solo or like online multiplayer. There's not very couch co-op. Like, it's very hard to do that in VR. And this one's definitely one of those where you can do that successfully.
I'll try to play this weekend with my family.
Look, I think you should. I had a ton of fun with it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really look at it properly before, because, I just thought... I honestly thought it was a game like I Expect You to Die. I thought that's what we were getting into. But then when I checked it out, I was like, oh, this actually isn't. This is actually... It's the Jackbox bomb diffusal. And yeah, I find it really, really fun, especially playing co-op. So I would highly recommend this. And like you said, it was $14.99 on the store, and it's frequently on sale and on in combo packs. So I would recommend Keep Talking Nobody Explodes if you want a fun game to play with your partner or co-op.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid asymmetrical game like that.
Yeah. That's it for me in terms of what I've been playing. Samson, you want to finish this off?
That's it. I finished. I'm done.
Oh, but no way. No way. This is.
I went quick through my Breachers, DOE, and table tennis.
Fair enough, but they're the staples. They're the staples, right?
The Golf Plus is really the big focus I came in with this week, nice. And I didn't want to bury the lead, but
fair enough.
I did lose in chess. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I guess I'm kind of flustered because it's always like a really big list. So, all right, that will do for part 1 of what we've been playing. In part 2, we'll get into the VR news. So we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, the VR news, and we're going to start off with, I guess, Samson, you are the psychic. Bulletstorm has been delayed to January 28th. So let me just read out the announcement here that People Can Fly put out. So they said they've made a tough decision to delay the game to January 18th. This was meant to come out at around December 9th, around that time. I can't remember exactly. They say, we know that Bulletstorm fans are eager to put on their VR headsets and kick ass in virtual reality. We aim to use this extra time to continue improving the experience to ensure Bulletstorm VR lives up to the high standards that you've come to expect from a well-known AAA FPS franchise, and People Can Fly as a developer of a high-quality AAA games. We're incredibly thankful for fans of the support and passion surrounding Bulletstorm series and deeply appreciate everyone's patience. So, Samson, congratulations. You called this a very long time ago. And I guess it did make sense looking in hindsight. They had released nothing. We've got, think of like the two big games. You've got Arizona Sunshine and Asgard's Wrath, which is December.
Yeah,
we know a
so
lot
much
of that, especially with Arizona Sunshine now. We didn't for a while either, but now they've come out with it, which is great, and which we'll talk about in a second. But this is the game that was just silent. It was just like, it's coming in December, but we're not too sure. So yeah, I'm glad it's delayed. One, because it's too packed of a month, and I feel like this game, because of how Arizona Sunshine is well regarded in the VR space, and then Asgard's Wrath, everyone with a Quest 3 gets it for free. I feel like this game would be just thrown away in the back, and people won't really play it. And I think even if it is done and it's polished and it's really good, I feel like it's not the best time to release it. So having it in January the 18th is going to be good. And honestly, if they need to delay it till like February, January 18th feels like it's not long. Like I that's only 1 month or so. Like I think if they did it till February or March, I think that would have been totally fine, to be honest. And it was something to look forward to in the new year.
I agree. Hopefully they don't delay it twice. So that's right. You don't want to delay twice. So if you do your delay, you want to make that the only delay.
Yeah, because then you go, okay, there's problems where, like, for example, Ghostbusters, that got delayed, 3 times or 2 times or something?
Did it really?
That? Well, yeah, because it got announced for when the showcase was last year, in 2022 for fall. Then it got delayed till March, and then it got delayed till when it just came out. So 3 times. No, 2 delays. Yeah, 2 delays to release dates. And then that turned out to be, terrible. So, not that great anyway.
Some people like it.
Some people like it. Not as good as what people were hoping for. So I hope this is a good delay and it continues.
If that was on 40% sale, I would have picked it up.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Game that you had and you get. But never mind. Bulletstorm is something for the new year, which is great because then we have more time to finish Assassin's Creed and such before we get to that. So, and the next game.
I don't think I'll finish Asgard's Wrath. That one, I'll be honest about.
No,
in fact, forward 50 to 60 hours.
I got no chance. I just want to see what it's like. I got no chance. I think Assassin's Creed will be the game that I won't be finishing, but until I think Assassin's Creed.
For your initial, we'll have a lot of initial impressions. We'll have a lot of those.
Yeah, the initial impressions, and plus at Christmas time, it'll be the fun time. We got to play it because we'll do our what's our favorite game of the year and all that stuff. So that'll be fun Christmas podcast episodes. But let's move on to the next one, which could be the game of the year. That's Arizona Sunshine 2. We got a full gameplay showcase, which didn't really tell you much compared to what the content creators put out a few weeks prior, but still gave us a little bit more. So just a few bullet points from this, and you could watch the full, I think it's 15 minutes long on there, Arizona Sunshine's 2's YouTube, and plus a few content creators have got it earlier, put out their initial thoughts with their actual gameplay rather than last time they just commented over some pre-done gameplay. So anyway, we got realistic reloading, so it's not pressing a button, which is always welcome in VR, and should never take it for granted because Sniper Elite can't even throw grenades. But anyway, we'll get to that next game. There's creative ways of killing so that you can now do melee combat, we knew this, but you couldn't do this in Arizona Sunshine 1. Weapons do degrade over time. Buddy the dog can fit through smaller spaces and clear like debris for you or find items, so you can send it into like houses where you can't get into and such, which is quite fun. And you saw more.
I like that.
Yeah, and you saw more of the Buddy the dog, just absolutely demolishing zombies. Like there's blood everywhere. Now this is the PC VR gameplay that they're showing, but my gosh, it looks pretty good.
So I pre-ordered it on Steam.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I feel like this is probably more for PC. I'm not gonna lie. There was a dark area that they went into, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect for PC VR, and PlayStation VR. I feel like Quest 3 definitely won't be the best one here. Co-op is cross-platform across all platforms, and
Horde that's big off the bat.
That is big, yeah, that is big, and that's going to be great. I think that's a great idea. And also you've got Horde mode, which you can play together as well, which will be fun. So like after the fall kind of mode inside there. And then what I saw from the 15 minutes is I thought that co-op looked really fun. I thought that was the way to play this game because there's a bunch of like interactable objects. Like some people were holding like sausages and putting it into people's mouths, and that
nice.
was, but you can like use different, you can get a frying pan and kill zombies, and I feel like co-op is the way to play this game. But I'm 100%. So glad that it's a single player game first anyway. It's not just like a co-op game, right? So
Dan, does it make you wish you still had your PSVR?
No, I mean Vertigo 2 also got delayed, so our PlayStation
you can play it co-op though.
With not many people play VR with me though around these like areas of my residence. It's more online only, so But did this gameplay get you more excited or anything? I mean, you pre-ordered it, right? So
yeah, Dan, I'm gonna be honest with you. I avoided it. I listened to some people, but I didn't want to watch much.
That's fair.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it.
That's fair. So, were you a big fan?
I'm sold already.
Were you a big fan of the first one?
I played Horde mode a bunch with a couple friends I got Quest 2s for, local like IRL local friends. I never played through the campaign of that one.
Okay.
Graphics are pretty underwhelming for that.
Yeah.
It was OG.
It was OG. It's still been $40 in the Quest store for a long time, and it's never really gone down, really, unless you had like a sale or something.
It goes on sale, yeah.
It's like always. It's a weird that I've always thought that game would drop down in price, but yeah, what I hear from other people who loved the first one, and played the second one, is that this is like, by all means, like a proper like next gen kind of update game, which is great because I think the first game came out in 2016, so it was definitely an OG.
I did play a good amount of. I mean, I don't know about a good amount because Amelia's played a good amount of After the Fall, but I played some After the Fall, and I've really enjoyed the gameplay of that. So if they just take like how that kind of feels,
it's on the engine. It's on the After the Fall engine. So that's why you see all the blood and such like that. It's very similar to After the Fall. It's just a bit. In certain areas, it's just a bit lighter, in terms of like you're in a desert kind of New Mexico kind of style place. I don't know exactly where you are in setting, so it does look a bit lighter. And then obviously you have Buddy the dog, which probably makes things way better anyway. But yeah, I'm glad that this is a single player game first with co-op as well, which is obviously as good as it is in co-op. But it's nice to have that because. In After the Fall, for example, or Ghostbusters or something like that, those co-op games, you can technically play single player, but then you have AI people with you and such, and it's just not the same. Like it's made for co-op, where this one it's a single player game, but co-op is just going to make it more fun to interact and such. So,
should we stream it together, Dan?
Oh, we could do that. You know what I was thinking? Actually, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is actually probably a solid game to stream too, because. I'd be talking and you'd be in the bomb diffusal kind of thing. So like it will work that way too.
You're right.
Like I feel like that would be a really fun game to stream. But yeah, maybe Arizona Sunshine 2 might be a fun game to stream. But we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next story. How about that? So
Let's do that.
Sniper Elite VR Winter Warrior gameplay also got revealed. It was exclusive to Upload VR, who had the reveal. So, few things that we know about this game, which is coming out in a week or so's time at the end of the month. The setting is Northern Italy in winter 1944. They said they addressed all the feedback. So, looking at melee combat, stealth, gunplay, etc. I would only believe this if you can throw grenades. Otherwise, they did not listen to every single piece of feedback.
But see, everything you've mentioned has been about the gunplay enhancements and the firearms. Never. I feel like grenades is secondary in this. It's not.
Just don't let me push a button to. Okay, never mind.
I love a good button press.
So enemies react differently to your play style. So if you go in guns blazing, they'll like go, oh my gosh, panic and such. But when you go stealth, they're like differently, which is very similar to most games. I mean, in Assassin's Creed, it's like that too. But that's another thing. I feel like maybe the first game didn't have that. Levels no longer locked behind.
I feel like they're kind of dumb in Assassin's Creed. Like, I just imagine that's what they're supposed to be, but
they're
stupid. Not the brightest. Yeah,
they are definitely stupid. Levels are no longer locked behind a star system, which was a big drawback of the first one. So essentially, you had to get a certain star level to unlock the next mission. But now the star level is still there, but it's just as a challenge. Like if you wanted to make a 3-star ranked, and you just still move on, which is like most games now, which is good. You have a camp. This is all single player, by the way. There's no multiplayer. They say it was due to the Quest 2 limitations, so they just wanted to polish single player experience. I mean, this is the first time I've heard where the Quest 2 has caused an issue to push out a feature on a title. You know, I feel like we're going to get more and more of those next year, where I don't know when the first Quest 3 exclusive, when you can drop Quest 2 completely, but it might still be a couple years yet, but everything is limited.
I think right? Take off the S of that.
Yeah, maybe
about a year. I imagine it's because of the graphics, right? I know that was a thing for Dungeons of Eternity. Part of why they limited it to 3 was just
because of the Quest 2 could handle. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I don't know about the Quest 2, but they just said that the amount the game could, like, the thing. Then
yeah,
you'd make that assumption that's.
And right now, as far as I'm aware, they can't do a Quest 2 version and a Quest 3 version. They just have to do one version, and the Quest 2 version just has the Quest 3 things internally. It just doesn't unlock it for the textures and such. So single player fully, you've got a campaign, you've got Sniper Hunt, which you fight AI Nazi snipers, and you've got Last Stand, which you have a wave shooter, which we spoke about on a recent pod. They also considered mixed reality, but they didn't want to just do it. Rather than they wanted to think of something more creative than just having it, which is fair enough. And as we've mentioned before, November 30th, and it's only $15. So
it would be cool to knock out a wall and have to protect your house from Nazis, I guess.
Yeah, so that's what they said. They didn't want to have Nazis in people's houses. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fair enough.
But, yeah. But Dan, only $15.
I know, only $15. So yeah, only time will tell. I mean, the interview that you had with Upload VR was like very encouraging, shall I say? But yeah, we'll see. I'll
spend $15 to shoot a sniper in VR for
and you get that. So. The sniper physics is cool when it's very satisfying.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. But anyway, moving on to the next game, Richie's Plank Experience. Can you remember this game? Another old one. We've talking about a lot of old games in this one. Arizona Sunshine. Keep talking explodes, and now
I might have to go to Home Depot, Dan, to go buy a plank to start playing this one again.
So Richie's Plank Experience has been updated. There is enhanced visuals. There's mixed reality support.
Don't you call him Ricky?
Did I call it Ricky?
No, you corrected yourself.
Okay. Enhanced visuals and mixed reality support, which is available for free if you have the game. And then you've now got a Canyon's Edge DLC, which is $4. And essentially you get a new environment, which you're like, it's not the Grand Canyon per se, but you're basically on like the Grand Canyon and you're walking up on the plank, which is really cool. Cheap. Yeah, only $4. It's only a new map. And it's nice that they've updated it again. Once again, these old games are starting to make an updates, which are good because these old games are gold and they're just gonna get forgotten. So
it's also for 40% off in the sale.
It is on the Black Friday sale, which we will
The
definitely...
game, not the DLC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the DLC is $4. I feel like that's okay. You know, you keep your 40% for that. That's fine.
I just bought it.
Nice. Now, okay, so I guess you haven't played it yet. But that's out right now for everyone. And I guess we'll talk about it next week when Samson potentially played it and fallen down many times.
I will not put my mother in that.
No. Obviously you played this game back in the day. Did you like playing it? Was it one of those things, or was it just
Dan,
one
you
of those
never played it?
I did. No, I did. I played it for like 5 seconds, and I was like, all right, this is fun to put people in, but that was it. You know, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I put people in it when
Let
I would
them
intro
fear.
them.
And then,
and then that's the only really time I've played it.
Did you ever buy a plank?
There's spiders in it, though, Dan. There's spiders.
I don't remember the spiders.
There's a spider button on the elevator, I think. Somewhere. I forget where spiders come in.
It's been a long time. Did you buy a plank for it before?
No, I've never actually had a plank.
But maybe this time. Maybe this time.
Maybe we go real.
Maybe this time. All right, final news story, and then we'll move on. Smash Drums has a new DLC, which did have a new DLC last month with the 70s. They now have 80s, which comes out, which is out now. Sorry. We got hits from like Bon Jovi, Scorpions,
Dan.
REM. Continue.
Do you have a favorite one?
Sorry,
I cut you off halfway through.
It's got to be Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer." That's a great song right there.
Sorry, the last two are Scorpions, "Rock You Like a Hurricane," and ZZ Top, "Give Me All Your Lovin'," right?
Motley Crue, yeah. No, okay. I didn't. I went in a random order just for fun.
Okay,
yeah, go on.
Okay. I wasn't listening because I was too busy interrupting you.
Continue.
All right. So it went 70s, now the 80s. Do you think 90s next month, Dan?
Yeah.
Me too.
I think that's a good guess.
Me too. I'm hoping for some maybe Cranberries.
Oh, that's solid. I was actually thinking going for some rap rock, like new metal, like a bit of Limp Bizkit 1999 or 1998.
Hot dog flavored water?
Exactly. That's the one. That's the only one that anyone cares about, to be honest, Limp Bizkit. But yes, like having something really left field, but I don't know. We'll see what they get.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like doing My Generation, I figure that song. But that comes in with the big drums. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be good. Green Day. There's a lot I would like, I think.
Green Day in the 90s or just like creeped into the 2000s?
No, Green Day was pretty big in the 90s too. Oh, Dan, you know what I would really love? Oh my God, Travis Barker. I want some Blink-182.
No, the Blink-182, I guess, yeah, they were 90s too, actually, because they had a bunch of,
Were they, or was it 2000?
No, they had a lot of, I think Enema of the State was like 2000 or 2001 or something like that, which is their biggest record, but like a lot of them, they got a few in the 90s too.
All right, Dan, so after the 90s must be 2000s.
Yeah,
right?
and then we want nothing but Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
Yeah. We want any of those. We want all those.
Say 99. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 99. So there we go. Yeah. Blink-182 would be a massive get for them, especially considering they've got a new album and all that stuff. But
I think my favorite on here is the REM one. It's The End of the World as We Know It.
Yeah, that's fair. Have you played this one yet?
I haven't hopped into the 80s yet, but I did love the 70s. So.
Nice. So that's out now, and it's only $6. All right. That will do for part 2 with the VR news. And part 3, we will talk about, well, there's no games out this week, but there is a massive Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal. So we will go through and like pick out the ones that we've been thinking of, and also what we think you should pick out too. So we'll see you in part 3. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/letstalkoculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, games out this week or anything else, which is actually the Black Friday, Cyber Monday part, where there are no games out this week. The big games are next week. So there's 2 parts of this Black Friday sale. There's 2 parts. Actually, there's 3 parts. So let me outline the 3 parts. There's one, you've got a select number of games which are up to 40% off if you use the code BF CM23, which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday 23, which is up to 40% off. Which that's where you'll see more of the bigger titles in there. Okay, obviously Assassin's Creed is not in that list, but stuff like Dungeons of Eternity is. So definitely check out that. Then you've got the bundles, which is very common in the Quest store, which you'll have 2 or 3 games that are bundled together at a discounted price. So take the Vader Immortal series. I don't know what the hell that costs now because I've had it for ages, but that's all. Any sale, that Vader Immortal is always bundled. And if you don't have it, the Vader Immortal is a great idea. And then you also have up to 70% off certain games, a select number of games, which Samson, I believe if you filter via sale, you'll see them. And there's also a banner at the top as well.
Exactly.
But if you see the bundles, then the games underneath the bundles are the ones up to 70% off as well.
Dan, are you going to buy any games?
So, I looked through, and I'm not going to lie, none of those games are games that I would be playing because I'm stuck on Assassin's Creed now and such, right?
Well, but obviously you don't buy these games to play now.
Correct. So that's what I was going to say. So the 2 that I've been thinking about is, first of all, the Light Brigade. So the Light Brigade is it's a roguelite shooter, I believe. But it just
uses World War II guns, I believe.
Yes, so that's what really, really intrigued me to it. I wanted to buy this on the PlayStation VR as well before, but then I decided against it, and because I wanted it on the Quest so I can play it more often. Good thing I didn't, of course. But yeah, that's a game that I did want to play. That's up to 40% off if you use the code. And let me throw it back to you because I have another game, but let me throw it back to you. So Light Brigade first is probably the game that I
all right, Dan, that's a good one because I too plan to pick up the Light Brigade. And I'm also thinking about TOS, Dan, because I like my parkour games. And TOS looks like a pretty fun parkour game for 40% off.
TOS is a parkour game.
Yeah. You do you get from point A to point B.
The monkey, the monkey one with the, yeah. I remember this one. Yeah, fair enough. Is that on the 40% off?
It is.
Nice. So the second game that I was looking at, TOS does a free trial, by the way, if you just wanted to try it out.
I don't want to just try it out.
I'm just trying to say.
I mean, I get 40. I get 2 hours with it too, right?
Yeah. That's fair. Bone Lab is the other one. Bone Lab always been a game that when it was shown and such, I knew it's probably not the game for me. I don't think I'd be interested with it. But at 40% off, it's definitely piqued my interest to maybe check it out and see what the hype was, and obviously it's not Boneworks that people loved on the PC, but it's the closest we're going to get on standalone. So Bone Lab was the other one that stood out to me of maybe we'll give this one a try. I'm not too sure about this one. I think Light Brigade is definitely something that I will pick up before the end of the week. But Bone Lab, I don't know. I'm in an R-ing at the moment, so we will wait and see.
Yeah. So I do have some other things to say about this, though, Dan. So if you're looking for a workout app, Les Mills, I've had some enjoyment in this. 40% off. There are a few staples, things I consider just staples that are great for showing off VR and really are just great on every headset to a degree. 11 table tennis, real VR fishing, walkabout, Beat Saber. Beat Saber's rarely on sale.
It is, yeah, that's true. But you get 40% off, right?
I believe it is a 40% off, but I can't guarantee that right now.
Yeah.
Then, of course, one of my favorites, Breachers, 40% off. I had a lot of fun in Hubris, 40% off. Dungeons of Eternity, that's so many hours in that.
That's I think Dungeons of Eternity is probably the pick out of everything to me, where it's a game that I'm not going to play myself, but it's such a big game and such a big hit that if you haven't bought it yet and you've always been on the fence,
and there is more coming.
Exactly.
There's more coming.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the game. This is the type time to get it. I think that's probably the standout in my opinion.
And then just the 2 rhythm games, obviously I like Smash Drums and Synth Riders.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 honorable mentions of games that I feel like aren't really talked about these days that are, I believe, both 40% off, but they're on the sale. They're on sale for sure. Day of Sim, and Eye of the Temple.
I have the temple I've thought about too. It's just that it's completely room scale, and I don't think I have the room for it.
Go outside.
I might do actually if I go into a different room. I don't know. I don't have to think about it, but to go outside, yeah. Not now. Not now. Now that it's like dark.
So cold.
It's dark and cold now from 4 p.m. Sorry, so it is what it is. So maybe not. But yeah, that's what I thought about recently. I think they've got a new like fire update or something like that as well that you can play in there. So the one I wanted to mention is that don't skimp out on the bundles because if you have a game that's in the bundle, that the bundle's even cheaper. You know, if it's 3 games, you know, you're not obviously not paying for that third game. Oh, Samson's going crazy.
That's because you mentioned this, and I see Serene Sports Bundle with 11 table tennis, Golf Plus, and Real VR Fishing. I don't know. I can't see how much it is, but that's a good bundle.
Yeah, and my favorite bundle that I've seen is the Walking Dead bundle because that comes with both games, the first one and the second one, and it's 50% off, so it's only $20 for both. Actually, is it $20? I think it's $20. I own one of them.
It's $20. I don't own.
Okay.
Oh wait, I also might own one. Mine says $20.
Yeah, mine says $20 too, but I also
let me
own
open
them,
it. Dan.
so yeah, you can open it whilst I keep talking. But now the key thing to note here is that The Walking Dead, the first game was meant to be enhanced for the Quest 3, and they haven't enhanced it yet. I thought it would be by now, but they haven't done it, and we don't know if they're coming out with a sole different version for Quest 3 that's going to be released, and that would be the first ever Quest 3 exclusive, or they're just updating the Quest 2 version as well to Quest.
It's $40, Dan.
It's $40. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because that's 2 of the games and such. Okay, I thought it was $20
because each one. I think because it's 50% off, so it'd be $80 total.
Right. That makes sense. Because I thought $20. I was like, wow, that's a steal. That's another one that I'm tempted to pick up though, because I only had it for the PlayStation VR and did have a good time with it. Obviously, didn't really get close to finishing it because then I obviously ended up getting rid of the PlayStation VR. But that is another one that's probably on my radar. The thing is, these sales happen very often. There'll be another one at Christmas and such. So I'm not too fussed about maybe picking that up.
Might not be 40% off all the, like they might switch up, and some of these will all be like you can count on a few staples. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you never really know, and they do fluctuate which ones go on the bigger sales sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's everything from me. Is there anything else that kind of came up in your fancy or anything else, or?
No, that's about it. Come on down to the Discord. I'll give away 2 of these on sale games on Sunday.
Absolutely. All right, before we wrap up the show, I just want to ask, did you end up getting the Steam Deck, or were you like, no, in the end?
No, I don't know. I decided I'm going to stick with my Steam Deck till Steam Deck 2.
That's fair. And which will probably be a couple of years, but that's fine.
Probably 2 or 3.
Yeah, the limited edition Steam Deck comes in like a cool
the
see-through for North America. And I was in the gym today actually because I was listening to a podcast which were talking about it, how like difficult it was to try and get on launch. And I went on my Steam app and I just logged in and I was like, oh, I can buy it right now. I got right to the page where it said like buy now to like proceed, and I was like, I don't. If the Quest 3 didn't come out, I think I would have bit the bullet because this is what I've kind of been waiting for, was that new screen. But I think I'm just gonna, now that the Quest 3 is out, all my time is kind of occupied with VR. So I was like, maybe into the new year for sure, like maybe summertime next year, maybe if they have a Steam 10% off sale next June or something like they normally do in Steam Fest, I'll probably pick it up then. But yeah, all right, that's everything. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching. Once again, if you're in America, happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate anyway, happy Thanksgiving. And thanks to everyone who listened and watched this show for the whole year. Samson, take it away.
Dan, not gonna lie, I haven't even opened it yet, so just a second.
So for those who stayed to the right at the very end, Samson's been reading out fortune cookies at the end of the episode. I don't think we ever explained it to anybody.
We just started doing it.
You told me off there. So for everyone who stayed to the end now, Samson's just opened a fortune cookie because he has millions of them. And he's going to read you a new fortune to end the show.
I've got a good friend at an Asian restaurant. A frivolous gift is a gift nonetheless.
As he eats that, that's actually perfect for the Black Friday and Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We will see you next week for just more LTO goodness. See you then.